So you want to talk about the Nintendo 64, yeah?
And I'm Jazzie.
You want to talk about the Nintendo 64? Okay. We were originally going to talk about the Game Boy again. We've done that a bit. We've done that at least 2 times.
What podcast is this?
This is the CU podcast.
No, it's not.
It's This Week in Retro.
No, it's not.
Welcome to welcome to My Favorite Murder.
No. Welcome to Sawbones.
Welcome to Run Fast.
Welcome to my brother and me.
Welcome to.
I actually got an email. I got an email to Jazzie@selfweplay.com. Someone told me that I laugh like Griffin, and I was so flattered. I was like,
"Oh,
he's my favorite boy,
the best boy.
He's the best boy." Although Travis is also a very good boy. Anyways, you should do the actual intro.
Hello, welcome to Speedrun, the fast-talking video game podcast where we talk about anything weird and or retro that interests us. And yes, today we are talking about the N64.
But before we do, you've heard of Ring Fit Adventure, right?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Look at me. Are you ready for Ring Light Influencer?
Okay, you got me on Team Ring Light lately.
And
that
useful.
Shit is so good. It's so good.
I bought 2. I love the first one so much I bought another one. It's so useful.
It's so good. It's pretty. I don't know why I keep doing this. I'm going to just grab my fidget putty. I feel like Jamie's fidget putty is just going to become a thing, but it's so good.
Oh, it's so good. Capital S, capital G. We're talking about N64 collecting this time.
Yeah, so as I start the thing, I think we should go over some history that we personally have with the N64. Which one of us should start?
You can start. I've been starting a lot of the episodes lately.
Okay, so my experience with the N64 is that as a kid I had friends who had them, but I didn't get one until I got into game collecting as a teenager. I got a black N64, which I later restored and threw a GameCube joystick in the controller and gave it to my friend Rose.
That's solid as hell. I didn't know you could do that.
Oh yeah, no, it's a mod I'm experienced doing, but It's not that hard. But the reason I gave that N64 away is because my fiance, soon-to-be husband, and I went halfsies on a Japanese Pikachu N64.
Nice.
There are 2 variants I know of in Japan, and we got the blue one, which is actually, compared to like the dark blue on the American one, is a really beautiful sky blue.
Mm-hmm. And
then I put in a region-free cartridge slot, so, it works no problem. Because that's the thing you can do. The only region locking is that the cartridges are shaped slightly differently in certain areas. There's little tabs on the back. If you get rid of the tabs in the cartridge slot by chopping them out with some pliers or 3D printing a region-free cartridge slot.
Or you can heat up a soldering iron and make an impromptu hot knife, which is a great way to fuck up your soldering iron.
But it does work.
Definitely not speaking from experience.
Funny thing is, the N64 really didn't have a ton of titles. It didn't have a ton of titles I'd consider classic. But the ones that worked...
Excuse me? N64 was rad.
Well, I'm talking about compared to the SNES or the PS1.
Okay, Zoomer.
But the ones there were really well, look, I can think of 20 N64 games I'd go back to at some point.
Most of them are racing.
There's no good RPGs except for Paper Mario.
Excuse you, Quest 64.
Quest 64 is a sin.
It's a war crime. So yeah, we're talking about N64. And if you want to get an N64 and get into it, what are some essentials? So, like you were saying, there are multiple console variants, but not nearly as many as some other consoles. There's one model to collect and a bunch of aesthetic differences, but there's one N64. There's not different revisions. I mean, obviously revisions, but it's the same thing basically. It's not like PS1 Slim, or anything like that.
I'd say the only real major difference is that if you want to be able to do like a SCART output, obviously you can only use the PAL N64 for that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can mod it. And there are HDMI options. The one thing is, I know the controller is very polarizing.
It is.
Personally, even as a kid, I wasn't a fan of the N64 controller. And not so much the shape. I'm actually completely fine off the trident shape. My issue is I never liked how the joystick felt.
Right. I hear that a lot. The N64 was my first gaming experience outside of computer games. And the first time we played one, I was like 3 or 4 years old.
Me too.
So that was the first joystick I ever used. So I'm like really used to it. But I totally respect that. It is dog shit.
Yeah. And now there are ways around it. You can do the GameCube mod. I think you can just get adapters to use GameCube controllers if you want. Or I'm really a real big fan of I backed one of the original ones of these on Kickstarter years back. There's a company called Retro Fighters who makes controllers for the N64 that use more of like a Switch Pro controller or Xbox controller layout. It's a little weird to get used to. Instead of a Z button, you have 2 Z buttons, one on each side.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really comfortable. And they even, if I remember right, they even have a wireless version now.
Yeah, they do. But you also said HDMI mods. And when a lot of people hear HDMI mod in 64, they think the Ultra HDMI. The creator has largely gone MIA. With some orders that still need to be filled, and is really bad at restocking. So, here comes Pixel FX, and they developed their own, arguably better solution called N64 Digital, I think. They're the same people who made the PS1 Digital, and it does the exact same thing. It takes the video signal directly from the GPU and spits it out onto an HDMI signal and cleans it up, and it looks incredible. For around the same price point, too. But it is still a solder mod.
But I've heard fantastic things.
Oh, it's so good. If you are handy with a soldering iron, look into that if you're looking into N64. Because, Jamie, as you know, the N64 is a very dirty signal system.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. There is some serious fuzz. We're talking about some real, so much fuzz that, you can mistake it for, the face of, a cop from the 70s.
God, ew.
Yeah, but is it an apt comparison?
Yeah, I would say so. Excuse me. As you can see, it's dark outside now. Excuse me.
It is night.
It is night. Yeah, no, just like the GameCube, it looks incredible once you clean it up. But right out the box, without any modification, it's dirty. And that's something you need to know getting into the N64, is you need to be ready to mod it and give it some love if you expect a top quality signal. Now, there are things like the Eon adapter, which can really help out the signal. And it does, because it takes the signal coming out of the actual port and cleans it up and upscales it and does some magic to it, and it spits it out over an HDMI cable. And it does a great job. I personally think that the best image quality is pulling directly from the GPU, but I also know that soldering is not accessible to everyone. So there are plug-and-play options. Or you can just use an S-video cable, and that will help out a lot. It's not great, but it's something.
But it's a step up.
It's a definite step up over the RCA jacks.
So I know we only have 3 minutes left on the timer, so that's not a lot to go into game.
I feel like we just started.
No, me too. We should talk more about the N64, honestly. I could gush about it. The one thing I want to get after I move is I love game collecting, but I'm willing to part Conker's Bad Fur Day is fantastic on N64. You can get that, on the Rare Replay. Same way I felt with my copy of Mario 64. Fantastic game that I adore. I can play it on the Switch.
Right.
And I mean via the Mario Collection, not the god-awful Switch Online.
Not Switch Online.
But, another option that I think, Jazzie, you're more versed in than I am is definitely using an EverDrive.
I was hoping that's where you're going. I am well versed in using EverDrives, and I love them, and I recommend them to pretty much everyone that has a retro system. Because not only can you play ROMs of stuff you might not own, don't tell anyone I said that, but you can also play, if you have expensive games in your collection, like Conkers, and you don't want to, like, that's the sound it makes when you dunk it in and rip it out, and dunk it in and rip it out.
Yeah.
So I was going to clip that out of context.
Dunk it in, rip it out, dunk it in, rip it out.
So I was just going to
remember to give your cartridge slot a little clean the spritz first so that goes in and out real smooth.
And give it a little spritz. Anywho.
Now you just got to rub it a little.
Hey, quick kibitzing, then give you a little spritz.
Oh, God.
You got some schmutz on you.
So, actually, there used to be a recommendation I'm glad people don't take anymore, which was if your video signal is bad, rub Vaseline on your video port.
Don't.
That was a thing that was going around the forums back like around 2011.
What forums were you on in 2011 that were saying that? That's not correct.
Retro games forums. Like
Nintendo Age. Got it.
Is Nintendo Age still around? I hope it's not still around.
It's one person brought Atari Age and Nintendo Age and squished it together into video games Age, and it was like, oh boy, let's take two forums that hate each other and put them together.
Ooh, oh no.
Anyway, don't put Vaseline on your video cables, please. And also, EverDrives are the best way to play your library. But if you don't want to use an EverDrive, which I can understand, because it can be a little bit finicky with like how you have to save depending on what model you have, and there's some incompatibilities, and I can't play Animal Force, I can't play Dobutsu no Mori, oh no!
I have the cartridge.
Yeah, you do. You have Dobutsu no Mori, which is Animal Crossing for the N64, and for those who don't know, because it was originally
that sounds like
N64
a brag.
game.
I just really like that game.
That's not a brag. That's like you being proud of your collection.
Yeah.
Beyond that, if you want to use physical cartridges, there are things that you can get called bit boxes. And there is a website, I believe it's called The Cover Project. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it has fan-made and also official scans of box art that you can slip into these boxes. And they're like, because N64 games came in cardboard boxes, not like Sega Genesis games where the cartridges came in like actual snap cases or like a VHS case. It's like one of those, but for N64, and you can also get that for like NES, SNES, any like cartridge-based system. But the ones for the N64 are super duper cool. If you want to put them up on a shelf, someone on Etsy sells sheets of end labels, so you can line them all up and know what you have. It's a console that you can do a lot with. Even if the library is mostly racing games, it is still very, very nostalgic and very cool, and there's a lot you can do with it to make it your own.
I'm looking at the bit boxes now on Stone Age Gamer, based in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio.
Salem, Ohio.
But it's $5 each, but if you buy in bulk, you do get a discount.
You do. And also, the people who run Stone Age Gamer are super rad, because I've met them in real life, because they are from here. We are not sponsored to say that. That's a shout out because I love them.
We just like the product.
We just love them, which I would love to go down there and interview them in person after you move here. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be there in a month, or by the time this goes up, I'll be there.
Yeah, because it's still October 30th.
Yeah. Huh.
Yes, it's October 30th for 6 episodes in a row.
Halloween never ends on the Speedrun. Christmas overrated. Thanksgiving.
Halloween
I'm in Canada.
every
We did
day.
that 2 weeks ago. It's spooky day every day. So turn on the Halloween Town specials. Forget the third one happened and have a great time.
Yeah. How can people pay us?
Patreon. Oh, yeah, because the timer just hit. Patreon.com/StuffWePlay. Get podcast episodes early. Join people like Robert and Abby Hornibrook and Lexi. Support us for $10 or more a month. And not only that, but get access to our Discord server. Get immediate access to us and do, as Jazzie said, foster that parasocial relationship.
No, don't.
I'm very concerned that you made that. I'm like, should we be joking about that?
$1 gets you into our Patreon and gets you access to the video version of the podcast where you can see me playing ring light influencer.
Watch me fidget with putty.
Watch me fix my hair that I desperately need to shower because I've been running around all day.
And I guess the other thing as well is, do you like what you've heard? Then maybe drop us a review on Apple Podcasts or start a podcast of your own using Podbean. Also, because I'm not yet in Cleveland, this episode and next episode are being recorded using Riverside FM. Find out more about that through the links in the show notes. Jazzie, would you like to plug what you do as well?
I work for Cleveland Audio Mixology, which is a collaborative, co-op of engineers and content creators and producers here in sunny Cleveland, Ohio. We make bad audio sound good.
There we go. So on that note, as I continue to I'm having a very good time with this.
Yeah, you look like you're having a blast. It's funny because it's coming through at 144p at a frame a minute, so it's like a slideshow of the jump rope. Yeah, when I watch this back on the editing, it's going to be so great. Just we.
Here, I'm gonna make a little putty sculpture real quick before we end off.
Okay.
Yeah, here, Jazz. This is one of our. I'm gonna make it look like one of our favorite things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, let me just take this, and let me.
Okay.
Okay. There we go.
Oh, look, it's 2 balls in a bong.
So on that note,
I've been Jazzie.
And I've been Jamie. Thank you
classy.
very much for watching. Don't do drugs.
Or do them. Who cares?
Get vaccinated, wash your hands, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Wow, that was a way to end it. Don't do drugs. Who fucking cares? With a dick and a ball.
I made a dick and balls and cock and nuts.
What the fuck is that Shadow's dick?
It's.
Oh my god.
Sonic, you've always been bitch.